The Kremlin has reiterated its firm stance on the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, declaring that any path toward peace must address what it calls the root causes of the war. This statement comes amid reports that, although there are channels of communication between Moscow and Washington, there are currently no negotiations or formal consultations underway for a new peace plan. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov told journalists on Thursday that official discussions with the United States are not taking place at the moment. As such, consultations are not currently underway. There are contacts, of course, but there is no process that could be called consultations, Peskov clarified, emphasizing the lack of any formal dialogue regarding a settlement. Meanwhile, fresh details have emerged from U.S. officials signaling that Washington has presented President Volodymyr Zelenskyy with a framework to end the war. According to sources familiar with the matter, the plan suggests that Ukraine should be prepared to concede certain territories in the east and relinquish some weaponry in exchange for security guarantees from the United States. The proposal, reportedly presented in a 28-point plan, was first reported by Axios. It indicates that, under the proposed agreement, Ukraine and Europe would be offered a U.S. security guarantee in return for Kyiv, giving up territory that, crucially, may not even be under current Russian control. Despite these reports, Kremlin officials have distanced themselves from ongoing negotiations about any such plan. When pressed about whether Russian President Vladimir Putin had been briefed on the current draft or the so-called 28-point peace plan, Peskov responded that there was nothing new to add to what had already been discussed at the August summit in Anchorage, Alaska, between Putin and U.S. President Donald Trump. From Moscow's perspective, President Putin has consistently framed the conflict as a pivotal moment in Russia's relations with the West, alleging that NATO's post-Cold War expansion and encroachment into former Soviet territories like Ukraine and Georgia have fundamentally threatened Russian security interests. Putin has repeatedly demanded that Ukraine formally abandons its ambition to join NATO, declares permanent neutrality, and imposes limits on its armed forces before any peace agreement is considered. On the other hand, Western leaders, including former U.S. President Joe Biden, and European officials have described the war as a blatant act of territorial aggression by Russia, vowing to support Ukraine until Russian forces are defeated. As diplomatic contacts continue, but formal talks remain stalled, the prospect of an immediate peace remains uncertain, driven by deep-rooted disagreements over security, sovereignty, and the future of the region.